Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our presentation, The Business and Application of Artificial Intelligence, presented by Bikram Ghosh, Associate Professor of Marketing, the University of Arizona Eller College of Management. My name is Muriel. I am on the higher education team here at Ivy Exec and will be helping to moderate today's session. Before we begin, I have a few brief housekeeping items for our audience. First, all attendees are currently in listen-only mode. However, we will have polls throughout the webinar, which you can participate in using the poll pop-up screen. We also encourage you to engage in the session by asking questions, which you can also do using the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. We will be having a formal Q&A session during the last 15 minutes of the presentation. Additionally, we are recording today's session, so you can look forward to receiving a copy of the recording via email in the coming days. And now, I would like to introduce you to today's presenter. Bikram Ghosh is an associate professor in the Department of Marketing in the Eller College of Management at the University of Arizona, where he teaches courses in advanced analytics and CRM and relationship marketing. His research focuses on analytical models of marketing with a focus on firm pricing strategy and competition, social movements, and the effect of user-generated reviews of products on firm competition and strategy. He has been published in management science, marketing science, decision sciences, and elsewhere. And with that, I will hand the presentation over to Bikram.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about something which is quite new to me. And I've been basically thinking about these issues for quite a long time. It's nice that I'm able to present the application of AI into business strategy. AI is not just a technical jargon. It is applied in business and strategy and leadership right now all over. So that's the basic crux of the discussion today. And I'm so excited that I'm getting to talk to you guys. And it is a fairly well-attended webinar. It looks like the number keeps on going up, and I see that Jen is keeping track of the number. So it's gonna be good. I'm very, very excited. Hopefully we are gonna have some fun. A little bit about myself. Muriel, you did a really good job of introducing myself. So a little bit about myself. Well, first of all, it's very deceptively embarrassing to see myself in such a big screen. But I'll roll with that. Well, that's me. And you can find more information about me at the University of Arizona website. And my academic life is pretty much divided into two parts. In one part, I do teaching, where I teach relationship management and data mining, as Muriel talked about. And I've been doing that for the past 10 years. And I have been teaching across all the platforms, full-time MBA, professional MBA, evening MBA, exec ed. So I personally like quite a lot the online MBA format, because I feel that I catch a lot of people who are very well experienced. So it's sort of like bringing the contextual knowledge, I bring in the bag of tools, and we create the course pretty well. On the other side of my academic life, my research is divided into two parts. First is applying game theory and business problems, completely conceptual in nature. There's no data involved. And so we basically look at businesses as games. And the second part, which is the topic of the discussion today, is applying deep learning to understand this problem. So one of the projects that I'm currently working on is crowdsourcing. As a matter of fact, it's a very hot topic in innovation right now, and crowdfunding is one of the ways that innovators pitch projects, right? And my context that I'm looking at is Kickstarter.com. What exactly I'm looking at is how does project creatives, the way entrepreneurs pitch the project, choosing the image, choosing the text blurb, affect the amount that they raise eventually. You see, herein lies the trick. Project image and textual characteristics, you cannot basically do normal modeling with that. You need deep learning techniques to process image data. You need techniques to process textual data, and that's why I apply those techniques to understand business context. And this is why provide a good segue of what we are going to be talking about today. I've got this plan I've got a whole bunch of things I'm going to be talking about. I have to basically prep for the discussion. So there are so many things to talk about when it comes to AI and application of AI to business. I basically force myself to keep within 37 slides, because literally this stuff that you see right now could be a one module wherein I teach like 4 hours every day. So there's a lot of things to be talking about. So I'm going to start from the very basics. I know you probably know what AI is, but I'm going to come from the first 2 points that you see are a little bit quasi-technical, as I would call it, right? So I'm going to basically throw out some buzzwords and how they are being used. So I'm going to start with what is AI and how is AI applied to real business worlds? What is the manifestation of AI in real businesses as you see it? And also, you will probably see that in your work if you are having AI as a part of your core business practice. And then I'm going to move on to more strategic issues. And that's where I would like to basically spend most of my time on. Okay. And I'm going to be talking about the fact that AI, I want to convince you at the end of the day, not only is it technical, it affects strategy, and more importantly, it affects leadership. Okay. And the discipline is so new that theories of strategy and leadership are kind of going. I'm going to bring the state of the art research, not only in academic research, but also research from McKinsey Institute and the Accenture and what is going on there and how are people thinking about AI and strategy and leadership. And then you as a manager, what can you do? What are the broad strokes? What can you do to leverage AI? I want to basically paint a very broad picture, but I would also give you a couple of good references. I'm going to stick these two books up. These are golden. Some of you guys have seen this book, these two books. I'm going to put this up a little bit later. And I want to talk about what can you as a manager to leverage AI for business practice from a strategic point of view and also from a leadership point of view. And then finally, after we figure out what can you do, the second part is how can you do it. In discussing the last 2 points that you see in there, I'm going to be using this Humans plus Machines book. I find this book is the best research that you can find to get yourself started thinking about AI in your business, how you can leverage them, what can you do to leverage AI, and how you can do that. All right, let's get into it. So what is AI? Like I said, there will be a little bit of technical discussion in here. What is AI? Well, we know what AI is. AIs are intelligent machines. And why are they intelligent? Because they have got a very specific characteristics which is very similar to humans, or we want it to be very similar to humans, that these machines that you have, they learn. And they learn from past. And when you talk about machines, they learn from past data. And that's why when you talk about AI, you would see here the word machine learning come over and over again, machine learning, deep learning, because machines learn. How do we, and we are humans, we fix our errors by learning. Okay, so that's exactly what the machines are doing. And learning happened in the context of human-like features, such as memory, such as attention. We pay attention, we memorize things. And in the most recent developments, learning happens because we empathize, we show emotions, we show mood, and so on and so forth. So the latest development in AI are not only considering the various psychological aspects that it has already been considering, like memory and attention, but it is also considering factors such as empathy, emotion. And what we are having right now are these algorithms which are able to mimic the human intelligence to a great degree. That's what we want it to be. So this opens up a whole new way of like discussion as to where is this going and so on and so forth. We are going to have that. But the whole idea behind AI is intelligence machine because of the specific feature that machines learn just like humans do, and therefore the term machine learning. Okay, there are three different ways that machines learn, and from a technical standpoint, in this is like data mining 101. There are three different ways. You probably have heard these things. First one is the supervised learning. Second one is the unsupervised learning, and then what we really understand as AI is reinforcement learning. These are the three different ways that, and there can be other types of learning. The semi-supervised is one of them, but these are the three broad types of learning that you have when you talk about machine learning. Okay. So what is supervised learning? I'm going to quickly run through what is supervised learning, what is unsupervised learning, what is reinforcement learning, so that we can have the definition right away. And then we jump onto the applications of AI as we go forward. So machine learning, supervised learning is the most common type of learning. Most of the neural network models are based on supervised learning. It is learning from pre-labeled data. So you know the input variable, but you also know the output variable. What do I mean by that? Let me put this into a context. Suppose you're trying to figure out, you are working for a telecommunication company, you're trying to figure out at-risk customers who are going to basically leave you after their contract period is over. So what do you need for that? In order to get a handle on that problem, I want to figure out which customers are at risk. In other words, I'm going to lose them. So you need an experimental sample on customers who have already left you, and you code them as 0, and customers who has not left you, who are who are non-churners, you code them as 1. This is your outcome variable. Your job as a trainer is to predict ones and zeros. That's what you do in supervised learning. Okay, and this is just one of the examples, right? So you can basically extrapolate into other textual text analytics purposes. Suppose you've got reviews and you want to classify the review as positive, neutral, negative. Okay, so you train the model with observing a bunch of data wherein you know positive, negative, and neutral. You're trying to teach the machine what separates positive, neutral, and negative, what separates zeros and ones, so that the idea is generalization. For people who you don't know whether they are going to switch or not, you can look at their characteristics. The characteristics being age, lifestyle, what kind of RV do they drive? Do they drive a pink car? Do they wear like red shoes? Independent variables, we want to predict whether they are likely to be switchers or non-switchers. The word supervised learning comes from the fact that this training sample, which has got all the outcome variables too, 0, 1, which in reality you will not know, is supervising your learning so that when you don't know whether a person is going to be a churner or a non-churner, or a text which you don't know whether it is positive or negative, you can just feed it to the algorithm and put out a prediction. Okay, so most of the neural network models, whether you call the basic artificial neural network, convolutional neural network, recurrent neural network, I'm throwing out buzzwords there, most of them are based on supervised learning, because the supervised learning basically looks at the past, which is called the training data, then tries to learn from it how to separate zeros and one, how to separate positive, negative, and positive, how to separate different types of imaging. Is this the image of a cat or a dog? And then tries to extrapolate it into the future. Okay, so that's supervised learning. The second type of learning is that you don't have the outcome variable. There is no concept of like, zeros or a one. You don't know you're not interested in whether the review is a positive, negative, or neutral. You are trying to find out hidden patterns within the data on the basis of the input variables that you have. So one of the common problems is k-means clustering, right? So on the basis of, and this is the very basics of segmentation analysis, on the basis of lifestyle and income, on the basis of age and income, you are grouping customers. That's, you're not thinking whether they're going to be buyer or how much they're going to buy, whether they're going to be churning, whether they're going to write a positive review or negative review. But this, you are just making broad clusters on the basis of the input variables that you have. That's unsupervised learning because it is not supervised by the outcome variable. And it is incredibly useful for dimensionality reduction. And what do I mean by that? If you have played around with real data, you are dealing with probably hundreds and sometimes thousands of variables. Well, you cannot use all those variables to do prediction. So what unsupervised learning does is that it can help you collapse the dimension of the data from 1,000 to something which is much more reasonable, like 5 or 6, because most of the variation in the data that you will see can be captured by a handful of variables that you have, and unsupervised learning are very good with that. So in many cases, what happens is that unsupervised learning feeds into what we call supervised learning, okay? So like I said, again, this is a technical discussion, but one of the most popular unsupervised learning technique, which is invented by researchers in Google, is the word-to-vec technique, which tries to basically helps you do word clouds, but in a much more machine intelligent way, okay? And it's one of those things which two words appear in similar context, right? So that's word-to-vec. We're going to talk a little bit about those and the applications of those, but I just wanted to give you guys a flavor of what are the state-of-the-art modeling that's out there when you're talking about the different ways that the machines learn. Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and then we are going into reinforcement learning, which is the third part. And this is what people talk about artificial intelligence. This is what it is. And so in here, the algorithm is given a specific goal, such as operating a robotic arm or playing chess or driving, driving a car. And every time the algorithm makes a move, either it is rewarded or it is penalized. Rewarded positive one and punishment negative one. So every step that the algorithm takes, it is not supervised or unsupervised, but they're learning at every step. And that's why every step that they make, they update their decisions and try to do better the next time. So it can be robotic arm, right? So suppose you've got the robot and you've got this adaptive robot that you're trying to build. It is trying to basically go forward. Every time it goes sideways, you give a negative one. Every time it goes forward, you get a positive one. Over time, it knows how to go straight. Self-driving cars, surgical robotics, that's what you're looking at. Deep reinforcement learning. This is where most of the research is going on right now. Well, I won't say that just here, but this is a big chunk of what we understand by artificial intelligence. So machine learning, deep learning, and there are three versions of it: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. Hopefully I've given you a crash course of different types of learning that you might see. But at the very back end of this, this requires a couple of slides, and that's why I put it, is the neural network. Because neural network, what did we start the presentation with? What is AI? The job of AI is to learn. What does a neural network do? Neural network tries to mimic the human brain, and because you know why. Human brain is the best learner, okay? And that's what neural network does. The reason why the neural network forms the architecture of most of these learning modules is simply because of the fact that neural network tries to mimic the human brain, and we know for a fact human brain is the best learner. No matter what you have, quantum computing, whether you've got deep learning, advanced AI, human brain is the best learner because they're able to catch context, they're able to reason, there is judgment, there is decision making. They are always able to make better learning capabilities, even when you don't have data. And that's the whole idea about neural networks. So how does a human neural network work? I just got a very boilerplate neural network, and this is what you will see. And most of the neural network that you will see looks somewhat like this, but it might have some more. So you as a human being basically take input from external sources. You observe video, you observe textual data, you observe image data. You process that image data using neurons, and then you churn out an output. The neurons in this case is what we call a hidden layer. It captures nonlinearities in the external data that you have. So that is the basic architecture of most machine learning and deep learning model that you have. I want to basically make a caveat in here. Not all machine learning are neural network based, but most of the deep learning models, all of the deep learning models, if I may say so, are based on neural network. You must have heard the term deep neural networks too. It all depends on how many hidden layers that you put. If you have got a 50 hidden layer neural architecture, that is a very deep neural network. So Microsoft's ResNet is one of the, Google's GoogleNet, LaNet, they're all deep neural network. It captures nuances within your data. And in the input layer, you can feed in whatever you want to. You can feed in textual data. The textual data comes in from a word. You feed in work into the neural system. What it does is that it analyzes sentiment. So it feeds that through the neural network, and it spits out a sentiment which is positive, negative, and or neutral. Right? I intentionally gave the input vector because whenever you're thinking about input vector, you're thinking about like actual variables that you see on a data file, like age, income, lifestyle, psychographics, and so on and so forth. Well, that's not the case. The beauty of neural networks or the recent generation AI is the fact that we are able to process data, which we were not able to 20, 25 years back. For example, text mining. Another is image analysis, computer vision. We are going to talk about that just in the next slide, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but image analysis is another input for you feed in the image and you get the output. So you feed in the image of a cat or a dog, and the job of the neural network is to figure out whether it is actually a cat or a dog or not. It's going to make mistakes, right? And how does it fix the error? Whenever it basically makes a guess, the signals travel through the whole neural network. Whenever it makes a mistake, it back propagates the error to the beginning and tries to fix itself. And that's what I mean by error reduction. And back propagation is learning. And that's how neural network works. And that's how we learn too, if you think about it. We take a guess. Whenever we are in an unstructured situation, we take a guess. And we say that, well, we kind of made a mistake with this stuff. And then we learn and we do better next time. And that's exactly what neural network is trying to do. And it is the architect. It is the backbone of most of the supervised learning that you have, most of the unsupervised learning that you have, and also reinforcement learning. Deep neural networks, machine learning, neural networks, very deep neural networks, neural architecture. All right, so that is pretty much the technical aspect of it. Now I'm going to go to reality, which I'm assuming that's what you guys are interested in. What are the manifestation of AI that you see in real life, probably sometimes in your business, and mostly I'm going to come from a consumer standpoint, actually. So there are 5 broad types of neural architectures that you see. The first one is text data, natural language processing, NLP. That is one of the biggest things. You want to basically find the narrative around your product. You want to understand how people are talking about your brand, how you want to basically mine the Facebook Messenger. You want to mine blogs, do opinion analysis. You want to do review analysis. That's raw textual data. People come up with product ideas. So one of the examples that I like to talk about is the intelligent beer. So they look Facebook Messenger feed, and they try to come up with what kind of a beer would people like. Or Stitch Fix. That is also another example of try to mine. They do mine a lot of textual data to figure out what might people like. Okay, so NLP has the backbone of that. Then computer vision. Most of the image analysis that you have is through the development in computer vision. So computer vision models helps you process image data. And look, think about the usefulness of that, right? So disease analysis, you basically you feed in the picture of a brain scan, and it's voxel data of a brain scan. It is going to spit out whether the person has got amnesia or not, or whether there is a tumor or not, or whether this tumor is malignant or not. So that's the advantage of, like, those are the models which uses computer vision and techniques such as convolutional neural network, deep convolutional neural network, VGGs, and ResNet, like I said a few minutes back, Microsoft ResNet, are vision model. And the simple reason for that is it's not just like surgical robotics or surgery. You can even think about Coca-Cola, for example, is using their Einstein, their deep learning module is called Einstein. What they do is that they take pictures. Somebody who is in a store take picture of the vending machine and feeds into the AI system. The AI system basically takes the picture, tries to interpret the picture, and tries to figure out when the replenishment order needs to be sent. And they also take into consideration, by the way, the local foot traffic, the weather of that location. This is what I call adaptive intelligence, but it starts with processing that picture. How many times has it happened? I don't know whether I've got Allstate insurance, right? And I basically upload pictures to post my claims. That's AI. That's convolutional neural network. You probably experienced that for yourself too. Computer vision models. Then you've got the robotics, right? So intelligent machines, which does some automated tasks for you. Surgical robotics is one of them. Self-driving cars, as we talk about it, there is so much of research that is going on right now. NVIDIA is spending so much money. Tesla is spending so much money. Surgical robotics is another part of it. And most of those robotics are essentially, reinforcement learning based models, or rather deep reinforcement learning type models, wherein you are training a robot to be adaptive. And I'm going to show you another example, very cool example, that Audi has got their ART, is what they call Audi robotic telepresence. They are using to fix cars. That's robotics. So that is the third application. The fourth one is recommender systems. Spotify, Netflix, you guys know, or Amazon. If people have bought this, they are also likely to buy this. So those people who have bought this book, those people who bought this pen, those people who have bought these things are also likely to do these things. That's recommendation system is a big part of business right now. That's what Spotify's business model is. That is what Netflix business model is, to figure out the recommendation system, and that is also a part of the AI system that we come across in real life. And then the first one, the most important one that we talk about, is conversational AI, virtual assistants. That is changing our lives, and it's not only changing our life, it is changing business, it is changing practice, it is changing leadership. And that's what I want to focus on in the next couple of slides, is to convince you the fact that, I'm going to pick an area of business wherein you won't think that AI applies that much, but it does. I'm going to talk about branding, because whenever you think about branding, you don't think data science, right? You think about the softer science. It is such a strategic issue. The issues related to branding changes when you're dealing with chatbots. Chatbots, by the way, I separated NLP and chatbots, which is Siri, Amazon Alexa, Cortana, I guess is the Microsoft one, right? They change business in a fundamental way. And the reason why they change business is because they're more human-like. They talk like us, or they like to talk like us, you see? So they have got, in some cases, they have got memory. They have got attention. They feel more human. Robotics don't feel human. Computer vision is at the back end. NLP is a technical jargon, but conversational AI, that's where you feel that this is real artificial intelligence, because here you have got a machine who has got human-like traits. So let's talk about chatbots and how it affects business strategy. And that is the third part of our discussion today. How am I doing on time? I'm doing very good. Yeah, I'm 25 minutes in. I'm going to power through it. I will. I'll leave some time. Okay. All right. So how does it affect? Think about branding. You won't think about branding in terms of like AI, right? But branding, one of the biggest thing in branding is brand anthropomorphism. It's a big word. I had to practice it. First of all, I'm not an American, so these words take me time to basically understand. Brand anthropomorphism. I swear I practiced like 15 times. Okay. What it is that like you make brands human-like, okay? Think about the gecko, Geico's gecko. They move around. Brands are, and what's the basic purpose of that? The basic purpose of that is that this brand has got a lifelike future, a human-like feature, and so it increases engagement. The Pillsbury Doughboy, Tony the Tiger, Michelin Man. We keep on, McDonald's. They make their brand jump out by making them more like humans, okay? Now, think about what you do see nowadays. Nowadays, with conversational AI, these little brand anthropomorphized brands, they can not only talk, they can talk with you. They can converse with you. That's exactly what banks are doing. Erica, it's a chatbot. It talks with you. It's no longer unidirectional. It is bidirectional nature. You can't tell me that this doesn't affect branding decisions. Because branding, anthropomorphism, the whole idea for brand anthropomorphism is to increase engagement. When you've got a two-way chatbot, it would have effect on consumer engagement. On the other side of the spectrum, nowadays, how many times it has happened that well, I don't do that. I am in many ways technologically backward when it comes to my personal life. I don't even have an Alexa, but many people pay their bill when they are using Alexa. So they just basically say, hey Alexa, pull up my capital account bill and pay my bill or something. They make the minimum payment. Or they are saying that, Alexa, call an Uber. Or, Alexa, give me KFC or order McDonald's. They are talking to Alexa, and that is the case of brand disenfranchisement. And why do I say that? Initially, Capital One, if you are interact with American Express, you go to their website, you see all these promotions, that increases brand engagement. That now you have got Alexa sitting right in the middle of Capital One or American Express and you. So it is the case of the other side of brand engagement is that companies have to warm up to the fact that with the conversational AI, you are leading to a situation wherein you can actually see brand disenfranchisement too. Because, and you will see there are a lot of these companies working with Alexa to co-create or co-brand some of these products, co-brand the experience itself. Same thing with Uber or your food delivery. You can just talk to Alexa and get it done, right? So that's where brands can go further when it comes to engagement, and it can come closer when it comes to engagement, but there is stuff to do. There is stuff to figure out. And that's what I'm calling about AI affecting strategy. There is a lot to think about. And I just talked about branding, you see. AI has got implication for pricing decisions, innovations, finances, fintech. It's such a hot area. Blockchain, everything in business right now, every aspect of business, it is no longer a technological factor. It is the reality of affecting strategy, your product strategy, your new product strategy, your branding decisions, your pricing decisions, your promotional decisions, your advertising, your communication decisions, what color you will use is all mediated by AI, and it facilitates. Okay, so hopefully I'm able to basically convince you the fact that AI affects strategy, but AI also affects you guys as leaders too. How does it? Well, conversational AI, you're talking about chatbots and stuff. They get more human-like, you see. They are more human-like, and you tend to trust them. What if when you're talking to your, well, not you, but so you've got this chatbot, and you're talking to them, and they admit the fact that they are being crushed by debt, and they're feeling suicidal. How do you respond to that? You need to basically have your chatbot process that kind of information too, you see. And that's why where the latest part of AI is incorporating psychological moderators, empathy, for example, the field of judgment and decision making, which is what humans are able to do. We are trying to teach the machines to do that too. So it's got implications of that too. And that is a leadership issue, you see. And that is a leadership issue simply because of the fact that where do the investments go? That's why Amazon is in the latest versions of AI, Alexa, they have empathy. They can empathize. This MIT startup Coco, this is instant messenger, but they have got empathy. So you're feeling, and this is an example which comes directly from this book. You're feeling anxious about your job interview. You can talk to Coco, and it would basically give you. You don't want to talk to anybody. You can talk to Coco. It would send you back a message, which shows empathy. You see what I'm. So it is getting. At the end of the day, you are training. You're learning. You're learning what? You're learning human behavior. You're learning to make less mistakes, you see? So it's psychology meeting data science. That's where AI is. And therefore, business, if you put these together, that's what business is. Consumer psychology, respondent psychology, and technology. That's where business is right now. So bottom line is this. Here's the rub. AI affects every aspect of business strategy and leadership. And I just gave an example of branding decisions, right? So you can basically extend it. So now I'm going to basically dovetail it toward a strategic question. So what can you as a manager do to leverage AI for your organization? What are the things that how would you start thinking about the process? You probably have started thinking about this process. What I have done is basically, I do research in this domain. I have basically pulled in literature from all sorts of, and I want to basically present some finding, and to a great extent, I am going to basically refer you to this book by Paul Doherty and Robert Wilson. I love their framework, which highlights how managers can start thinking about leveraging AI to their organization. Obviously, it's a book. To go deep into it, you need to have like a whole course, a 6 or 7 month session on this. How does it affect? But it gives a very good starting point, and that's what I'm going to be using. So in order to understand that, AI affects every aspect of business decision. But when I talk about the AI adoption rate, and many companies are doing that, I'm talking about the real AI. I'm talking about the NLPs. I'm talking about computer vision, the whole suite of AI functionality, adaptive intelligence. What would be your guess? Think about it. This is a study which is fairly recent from McKinsey Global Institute, so the numbers might have moved by a little, but not by much, because we are standing in 2020. It's a little bit dated. But what would be your guess? According to the study, we talk about AI, that AI affects business and strategy. What is the adoption rate? What do you guys think? Less than 1%? 2 to 5? 5 to 15? 15 to 50? Greater than 50? Hit me. What do you think the answer is?
All right, the poll is now on. We'll leave it on for another 15 seconds.
Awesome.
And Bikram, just a quick note, it seems like when you lean forward, the mic might have a little bit of an echo. So if you lean backwards, I think it'll be great.
Oh, should I lean backward?
A
Okay.
little bit. And for the audience,
I
if you
speak
can.
pretty loud. It's probably
Yeah.
catching it. That's what I hear from my classes,
Yeah.
That, man, you
And for
guys,
the
you
audience,
get
if you
into
can.
it. You get into it. And then if you've got a mic, sometimes you're speaking so loud, it like people who are close to they just, man, that's just,
Absolutely. Okay, we're about to close the poll. So closing the poll now and sharing the results.
Let's see.
So
Let's see.
5% said less than 1%, 22% said 2 to 5, 24% said 5 to 15, 29% said 15 to 30, and 19% said more than 50.
Really? Well, so this is new AI. I'm not talking about web presence. I'm not talking about every part of the business decision making adapting according to that study. It's pretty low. I'm not talking about cloud, the entire AI experience. That's what their finding is with a pretty large sample. Okay. So the point being that AI adoption rate is still at the introductory stage. So if you're a manager, you're thinking about AI, you are actually in the introduction phase of AI adoption. There is so much of runway. There is so much of runway. And the reason for why the adoption rate is at the lower end, that's going to get clearer as we move forward. So let's move forward quickly, okay? I want to basically talk about what you as a manager can do and how can you do to leverage AI for your organization. But before that, we're going to basically take a step back and talk about what does AI do? What exactly does it? How does AI touch business? You as a manager, what do you want AI to do? Well, if you think about it, this is what AI does. It complements human work by providing intelligent automation of business processes. Okay, so when you're talking about adopting AI, those are the two aspects that I want you to basically focus on. It complements human work. It doesn't supplement, because there is the narrative is so much that AI is there to be a job killer and so on and so forth. It doesn't. The greater part of the literature, it doesn't bear with that. It doesn't take job. It realigns, it reconstructs jobs. That's what I want to basically convince you. I want to spend quite a bit of time on the complementarity of human and machines, but the whole why you want to have a complementarity is because you want to re-engineer your business process. You have to look at your business process in a completely different way and make it intelligent. Okay. The basic idea of AI are these two things. It complements intelligent automation. No matter what are you trying to do, whether you are trying to basically give the functionality of uploading, you're working for an insurance company, you're working for Allstate, you're asking your customers to basically upload pictures after an accident, or you're doing something more fancy. At the end of the day, machines complement human activity, and that complementarity comes in terms of automating parts of your business process. Now, reconstructing business process is a 3-week module in and itself. That's what I do. I spend 3 weeks in reimagining business processes. Where can I basically start thinking about AI in my organization? The first part is to look at business activities. Okay, you look at your business activity and you deconstruct your business activities into smaller tasks and figure out which business activity, which work activity within the business process can be automated. This book really gets into by talking about, the ATMs. What does a bank teller do? From the time that a customer walks in the door, that you can basically break down, deconstruct the workflow of that business flow into smaller tasks, and you will find out there are certain jobs which can be automated. So for example, checking the bank account balance, that can be done by a machine, and therefore you've got the ATMs, you see. Or when the customer comes in, they don't want to be greeted, they just want to go in, check their balance, get the money, put the withdrawal request and get the money out. When you talk about teller, a lot of their jobs could be automated. A lot of their jobs that cannot be automated because there is a human component to business processes too. So the first part of AI is to reimagine your business process, deconstruct it. And if you want to learn about how deconstruction works, like I said, this is a 3-week module in my course. This would be the book that you want to start off with. Really, really handy, gives you different cases of how to deconstruct business process, okay? And so once you have deconstructed the business process, you will invariably find work which are repetitive, which doesn't require human interaction, and which are highly physical in nature. Those are the ones which are automatable, okay? And again, I'm going to go back to you will be surprised how much work you can automate. We don't do that. We cannot do that because it requires so much of organizational reconstruction, But If you want to think about AI, it starts with the business process by deconstructing the business process and figuring out which part of the business process can be automatable. Automation is, you can right now, again, I go back to the same study. I'm going to run this board again. How much in this study, they took a survey of the different industries, broke down workflows. Take a guess. What percent of current work activities can be automatable? And those are the ones which are more amenable to AI. What would be your guess? 10%? 25%? 50%? 75%? 100% automatable? Well, we know for a fact 100% is not automatable. We will be living in a different world altogether. So the answer is probably going to be somewhere in between 10 to 75. What would be your guess? Think about work activities. What would be your guess that what percentage of work activities are automatable? So we are running the poll.
The poll is live. We'll leave it on for another 5 to 10 seconds so we get most of the people in. All right, closing the poll now and sharing the results. So 7% said 10, 25% said 25, 44% said 50,
There you go.
24% said 75, and 1% said 100.
There you go. 50%. 1% said 100. Why would you say that? We are not machines. Oh, something popped up on the screen. Okay. All right. So the right answer, according to that study, right answer, according to that skip. Oh, well, I wanted to be here. According to that study, 50% is automatable. But I go back to, if you remember, there are two catchwords that how does AI touch business? AI provides complementarity to intelligently automate parts of your business process. So I'm going to focus on the word complementarity. How do I understand complementarity? What do I mean by complementarity? Doherty and Wilson's model of missing middle is complementarity. There are certain jobs which are done well by humans only, and there are certain jobs which are done well by machines only. Jobs such as that are repetitive, they are redundant, they're replicative. They can be done by machines. And I just basically give you another three broad outline of which type of work can be done by machines. It is the middle. You want to harness the middle if you want to leverage AI. Part of the middle, training, explain, and sustain, is how you make what humans can do to make machines better. But if you do that right, the machines would help you by amplifying, interacting, and embodying. So briefly, let's talk about that. I want to spend the brunt of the time with the next what I have. I'll try to finish it up in 10 minutes, is the fact that, it's the missing middle. That's where you want to leverage the AI. All right. So AI, the missing middle in action, Stitch Fix is the classic example of reimagining the business process. Okay. And what do you get out of that? It is, they need three types of information. They need a survey. They need to fill out a survey. You need to fill out your measurement features. And the third one is also they harness the Pinterest. The first two is what machines analyze and give recommendation. The last one, looking at the Pinterest board and figuring out the softer side of you before they send you the packet, is done by humans. Human-machine collaboration. Audi telepresence, fixing a car. Here you see in this picture that a mechanic is fixing a car with the help of a robotic machine. Machine-human collaboration, complementarity at its best. That is the art project, Audi robotic telepresence. Example of process reimagination, breaking down the process flow and asking which one is automatable, which one is not, harnessing the complementarity. Now let's go into that. So what can you do to make your machines better? Well, first one is training. Make your machines more human-like. You have to basically teach machine how to basically process natural language. You got to build algorithm to process video data, speech data. You got to make the machines more human-like. But from a work perspective, you look at your workflow and you say that this is the part which I want to automate. Again, I go back to the, sound like a broken record right now. I go back to the example for the insurance. You're working for Allstate. You want your customers to, imagine this, you want your customers to upload a picture. Once they upload the picture, the claims adjuster directly basically files your claim. Everything is done. But at the same time, somebody calls you immediately to check on you whether you're hurt in the accident or not, or sends you a customized message which shows empathy. That's actionable intelligence. That's customer servicing. And at the same time, you are taking care of the logistics too. So you have to basically look at your workflow and say that, like, what do I want to train? I want to train the machine. I want to automate this part of my business process. And you go back and you make this a technical data analytic question, and you say that, what kind of data do I need? I need to have the capability to process image data. I need to have the capability to process video data or natural language. That's what I want to harness. Okay, so you train the machines to be more like humans, because humans can process these different types of data. So that's the first part, and that is natural. That's what you want to do. The second one, which is not, and it actually goes into a leadership question too, is that the biggest part of AI is explaining what AI does to the C-suite, the C-suite and the customer at large. AI is a black box. You want to basically have people. So what Doherty and Wilson suggests is that you hire somebody like a algorithmic forensic analyst. What they do is that they transfer the technical knowledge that you get from AI and make it a visual package for C-suite to take action on. So those are the explainer. Again, a new line of job, a different role. You don't have that in your organization, but you do need explainers. AI is a black box to many as of now. Okay, so you need these explainers to translate, even for the larger public. Okay, you are using AI to grant loans. Okay, how did you turn down the loan for one individual and not the other? You have to basically take into consideration, somebody should be there that this is how the AI works, and translate that to the larger public, and that includes two important stakeholders, which are the C-suite and the common public, because the narrative associated with AI is crucially important, and that's what AI explainers does. And the third one, which is a little bit different from the explainer, are the sustainers, who are not only considering the implications of explaining the AI models to the managers or the leaders and the public, but the sustainers, who takes into consideration the broader societal effect. You want to make sure that, like, your AI algorithms doesn't involve, Goldman Sachs got into trouble not a long time back. Discrimination, diversity, privacy is such a big issue. You need ethics compliance managers that you are abiding by the best practices. So you need to teach your machines not only empathy, which is what's going on right now, but a code of ethics. Okay, there are some ethical things that and the ethics are different. The definition of ethics are different from one culture to the next, but you need to teach ethics, and that is a different type of a role. So skills development, which is what I'm going to end the discussion with, is a big part of it. So what can humans do to machines to make them better? Training, explaining, sustaining, and these are big job roles. You can have different roles within your organization if you want to harness AI within your organization. So sustainers, look at the outside, see what is socially acceptable, what is not, takes into consideration the softer side, and ethics is at the basics of it. And if you do the first three things right, training, explaining, and these involve different types of job opportunities and different roles which you're not thinking about it right now, you'll probably have those in your organization. If you do that right, you will get superhuman capabilities. That's where efficiency comes. You will be able to harness billions of data points and get actionable intelligence. You will be able to operate at scale that is beyond what you're imagining right now. You will be able to interact with your customers. Your machines would interact with you. Over time, it would get better. And then also you will embody, you will make room for robotics. You are sharing the same space to get a job done, fixing a car or carrying out a surgery, with embodying the machine within the same workspace. This is what machines do for you. So complementarity is one of the biggest things when it comes to harnessing AI. Again, like I said, this is just a broad stroke. Training, explaining, and sustaining in and itself is a 2-week module, but that's what you have to do. If you want to read more about it, this thing, like I said, I'm going to put these 2 books in the end. You can read more about this, gives you more details, but it doesn't go into too many case studies. But like I said, each of these areas are 2-week modules. But I hope I'm able to give you a flavor of what do I mean by the missing middle? Where does the leveraging power lies? It lies in these 2 words, missing middle. How do you do it? We talk about what do we need to do? How do we do it? There are 5 things that you as a leader can do. First of all, you have to change the mindset in the sense that you have to start by deconstructing your business process so as to reconstruct it in the future. In the process, there will be some jobs which are gone, but there will be new jobs which are coming in, right? We just talked about a few of them, right? Data ethicists or algorithmic forensic analysts are some of the jobs which you're thinking of. You are going to hire people who are skilled in anthropology, who are skilled in psychology, who are skilled in judgment and decision making, because you want the machine to be more human-like, and that's where it starts from, figuring out your mindset. The second one is endless experimentation. You do design thinking, or what I call it, empathic design thinking. Amazon Go is an example is an exercise in experimentation. Cashierless store is experimentation. It's not perfect. Because what Amazon has to do is that, like, I mean, I don't know whether you guys have probably heard about these stores in Seattle where you can walk into the store and pick up stuff and it's automatically going to charge your account. Well, it requires you to have computer vision and at the same time recognize who is picking it up, attaching it to their account, and the SKUs. Everything it doesn't work properly, but as Jeff Bezos says, that a bigger part of they literally have billions of dollars of mistakes. That's what Bezos says. So experimentation is a part of it. Leadership, the narrative around AI. AI is not about, it is more safer than human intelligence because it is able to process large amount of data. Narrative around AI. It is not a job killer. It is there to be a complement to your job. Those are the 2 stakeholders, right? People don't trust machines. You have to, that's where the leadership kind of comes in. Data is the fuel for that. And then you have to basically build this fusion skills in order to put it all together. So let me basically, how do I have much time?
Yep,
5 minutes?
Go ahead.
Okay, so mindset. So first you got to figure out the pain point in your business decision process. Where can I improve? My HR is taking too much time to recruit people. So something has got to be automated. It is taking too much time to process claims for insurance company. That's the pain point. Discover and describe and come up with a solution. Okay, for Audi, they figured out the fact that the machines, the Audi, are so complicated right now. Many of the times the local mechanics cannot fix that. So you've got these experts who can fix it for them, but through a telepresence. So co-creating a solution wherein there is a robot working with the mechanic to solve the problem. Change in mindset is what business process reengineering. Second one, like I said, experimentation. You build, you measure, you learn. It is Steve Blank's design thinking, but what I call it empathic design thinking. The third one is leadership, and leadership has got, so the narrative around AI is all there is to it. People don't trust machines. People, they are skeptical about machines. When you think about the surgical robotics, how many of you guys are comfortable with machines operating on you? I'm not, okay? So, but in reality, if you look at the statistical data, probably machines are less likely because they don't reason, they don't have emotions as much, so they are likely to be more unbiased. They're likely to be more precise. We still don't trust machines. Okay, so the narrative around AI is a big part of it too. The second one is that we can offload part of our business process to machines, but we have to basically take into consideration that, like, hold machines also accountable. Okay, you are offloading a part of the business process to the machine, but oftentimes the responsibility falls on you. So Uber's AI backdrop is the Ludwig. So if something happens with the GPS system and it messes up your drive, you're not going to basically hold the GPS system responsible. You are going to hold the driver responsible. reducing the moral crumple zones is a job for the leader. You have to make it your business model have to take into consideration so there is attribution towards the machine, not the people who are operating the machine. Data is everything. Dynamic data, data from different varieties of data, visual data, video data, textual data, all those data, you should be able to, your organization should be able to process it, and that is a leadership discussion, because those are infrastructure related decisions that you have to have, and data has to come in real quick time because there is no time. You need actionable intelligence at literally no time. Okay, and I'm not going to go into the details of that because I'm kind of running out of time, but there is a lot of talent management issues which are to be paid attention to. The first one is rehumanizing time. You got more time. You can basically let humans do what they do well, judgment and decision making, and actually you can feed that back into training the machines better. Or you can basically invest more time on doing community work, and that would have goodwill implications to it. Then for the skills perspective, this is sustainers, narrative, reduce algorithmic aversion. Don't think that you got to control the narrative saying that AI is not there to kill the job. It is not. I mean, even if you think about ATMs, after ATMs came, the number of bank tellers actually went up, not went down. It's just that the job is reconstructed. That's a fact. And with AI, they're not there to take your job, or not there to take jobs away. It is there to reconstruct the job so as to give you as a manager and a leader superpowers. Judgment integration, skills to know when to use machine intelligence, when not to use machine, when to use human judgment. Ask intelligent questions to the machines, know how to operate. That's where the real learning happens. And then, holistic melding, we are meld when we are driving. We know how to drive. We don't have to basically think that what the machine is going to do. Or when you're typing, oftentimes you don't know. That's what holistic melding is, and that's where real complementarity kind of comes in. And then you get mutually better. You look at how your machine is learning, and it is not learning well. You feed back more nuanced learning to your machine, and then get better results. And in the process, what you're doing is that you are training the machine is training you, you're training the machine, machine is training you, we go back and forth, and then relentless reimagining. Part of automation is to reimagine your business process. So if you want to basically talk about key takeaways of this discussion, I said a whole bunch of things today. First one is, what is machine intelligence? There are 3 ways machines can learn. But you as a manager, I hope I convinced you to think about complementarity. If you want to take away one thing from this discussion, take away word complementarity. How do you harness it? Looking at the missing middle. Train, explain, sustain. You need that. I'm pretty certain most of the business organizations don't pay attention to explainers and sustainers. Just as important as training. And then if you do that, you get amplification, interaction, and embodiment. Think complementarity. How do you do that? Melds. These are the 2 books which would get you started. And I'm going to put it right here, if I can make it stand. These 2 books, they're beautiful. I love them. This is what I start. And you can probably find literature in thousands of. Another one, if you want to get started, is open up a login account and look at the research which is going on in 2 companies, Gartner and McKinsey Global Institute. Their research is top of the line too. A lot of good stuff coming out their way. So we started technical, applications, and then managerial issues. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you so much, Bikram, for a very interesting and very topical presentation. We'll dive right into the Q&A session. A couple of questions here. One from Edel. He says, according to Ray Kurzweil's prediction, AI will reach human level by 2030. How long do you think it'll take to impact businesses in a larger scale?
It is impacting business right now. It is impacting business in a larger scale right now. And it is going to impact more as we figure out different versions of the AI modules, as we figure out and make them more human-like. Jobs are going to get reconstructed. I cannot say which jobs are going to go. You do feel the fact that certain jobs are going to be automated and certain jobs are going to get reconstructed. But right now, AI affects, and that's why I wanted to basically talk about branding, because you don't think data and analytics. It is affecting, whether we recognize it or not, it is affecting supply chain. It is affecting customer servicing. It is affecting branding. It is affecting new products. It is affecting pricing. It is affecting promotion. It is affecting advertising. It is affecting finances. It is affecting accounting. It is affecting every part of the business. We're going to get better. We're going to get better. We're going to have better intelligent adaptation and automation. So by 2030, I could see more empathic machines who are much more human-like. But there is a part of humans which they are never going to. Certain times you cannot teach a machine to be human because ourselves, we don't understand completely what it takes to be human. So that's a bigger issue. By 2030, I do feel that there would be other parts of AI which we didn't get a chance to talk about, which is distributed ledgers and blockchains and stuff like that, which are probably going to be a bigger part of the business too. But as we understand AI in 2030, it's just we are going to get better versions of machine. But right now, we are being affected by AI.
Great. We talk about the impact of AI. Edward here wants to know, can AI and automation be taken too far? How will AI be regulated or controlled in the future to ensure that it is not applied unethically?
That is such a good question. It can. We have seen this issue with AI thrives in big data. Issues related to ethics and privacy. That's why every leader, if they want to control the narrative, to a great extent, Edward, it's a really important question. To a great extent, you ask these questions because to a great extent, we feel that privacy is going to be sacrificed. And there is issues related to diversity, issues related to service lining, certain customers get redlined from services. You can take AI. We saw that with Goldman Sachs, with their Marcus product, targeting a particular demographic and discriminating against other. AI going too far. Or better yet, they haven't basically understood the complementarity too well. If there was a sustainer who clearly understands the societal implication of what their AI algorithms do, these questions that you and I are asking, and completely legitimate, are going to go down in the future. Yes, currently you can take AI a bit too far, but you got to know when to stop the algorithm and switch back to human judgment. Because human judgment has to be there no matter, in my view, I don't know what's going to happen in 2030. In my view, human judgment will always take the lead role in making better machines. But machines are only there to reconstruct jobs and make you better, and in the process getting better. So that's what I think. So yeah, yes, it can happen, and we do see that happening. Every now and then we see the article on Wall Street Journal that this is what JP Morgan did, or this is what Goldman Sachs did. This is like AI gone wrong. Facebook, data privacy issues, AI gone wrong. Google, AI gone wrong. We do always see that, and sometimes they do take really private information. So, but that's why I say to harness the complementarity, every organization or every leader has to think about these two positions: explainers, what AI does, and sustainers, so that that doesn't happen. And these type of question kind of goes down as we go forward.
Absolutely. And then due to time, we'll just do one more question from Amber here. She says, why are the decision variables used by AI usually hidden? Can we design the system to make them more transparent? Do we want to make them more transparent? What are your
That is
thoughts?
such a what an awesome question. I mean, yeah, certain cases you cannot because of confidentiality issues. It is for the what I call the explainers to divulge. In fact, it's kind of funny when you read this book, you will see that they are even kind of suggesting that we should have a data transparency manager. Oftentimes, you cannot divulge the data sources, but you can still tell the public at large that how you got from this data to this outcome. Okay, transparency is a big issue, and certain times you can be completely transparent as to how you got there, and unfortunately, certain times you cannot, right? And so, but it is an evolving area of research too. What is the level of transparency that you want?
Great. So that is all the time we have today. Thank you again, Bikram, for this wonderful presentation. We will be sending over a follow-up email afterwards with the name of the books. Seems like a lot of people are very interested in them, so we'll send the names over to everyone. Bikram, I'll hand it over to you for some closing words.
Thank you very much, Guy. I am so happy that I'm able to talk about these things. And I hope that I was able to, yeah, provide the nudge towards the right areas to look on in terms of thinking about AI and strategy and leadership, which is what you guys are. Hopefully that helped. And I will definitely, if you need any information, my email is there at the beginning of the deck. Feel free to get in touch with me. I respond pretty quickly. And again, thank you very much. Again, I don't know whether my brother is actually watching from India. He works for HSBC. So a shout out to my brother.
I love it. Bikram, can you go to maybe the title slide so they can see your email if they choose to reach out to you? I see a couple of people with additional questions.
Absolutely. Please feel free to send me emails. Like I said, I will respond to you quickly.
Great. Well, thank you again to everyone. We hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the session. We'll see you another time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. There you go.